And this is a very cheap and efficient way of heating a city. You're using the waste. Alternative ways. Anybody got any ideas about how else could you generate heat for a house like this?
The passive houses.
Yeah. What is a passive house then?
Solar panels.
Let's take the word passive to see what we get from. Yeah.
It's a thing of houses that use natural energy.
Yeah.
And and it's not polluted.
Yeah.
So it's
the word passive.
CO2. It's just decreasing using this kind of passive ways.
Yeah. Wow. So we're getting alternative. You're getting a reduction of CO2, and we're talking about passive. To me, this word passive is quite interesting. What it means is you've got a lot of heat sources. Look at the heat source we've got in this room here. It's getting quite hot in here.
Okay, from computers.
From the heat. I'm generating more heat than you guys. You guys
dishwasher, everything.
Yeah, everything.
Electrical
That's
part.
Coming, yeah. So if you guys are maybe generating 100 watts just by being here in the room. Maybe I'm generating more because I'm talking and I'm moving about.
This company should pay to us.
What?
This company should pay to us.
Yeah, but it's actually hotter now in here than it is out there.
Yeah.
We're in Denmark, remember? But it's a brilliant idea, that you've already got a lot of heat in the building that you can use. But if the heat's escaping, then it's not much use. So what you're doing, you're insulating your house to very, very high standards, so that this passive heat, in some cases, is enough just to heat your house, because your heat loss is so little, because you've really put in loads of insulation over the whole building envelope. But this isn't a heating source in itself. This is a technique, of course, as to how to reduce the energy and save the CO2.
Yeah. To have
What
a
other
healthy
ways? I heard someone
environment.
saying solar panels.
Yeah.
What's a solar panel then?
You capture the sunlight
Yeah.
and it transforms in energy.
What type of energy do we get from solar panels?
Electricity.
So here, what you're saying is, up on the roof up here, you've got a solar panel, and you've got the sunshine, which is catching it. Now, in my mind, there's two different types. There's one that's producing electricity, and the other one is actually just heating water. So you've got hot water going through this and just getting heated up.
Solar cells.
Solar cells is the one that's producing energy. This is cells, and solar panels are the ones that are heating the hot water. So make the distinction between the difference. Solar panels is water-based, solar cells is heating electricity. But both of them are alternative ways of heating energy and creating energy, and very, very relevant for a house, even in Denmark. Although in the winter, in Denmark, you're actually producing very, very little energy from the sunshine.
So if you have that in the winter, how you can manage to take enough energy from the solar panels or?
Well, in round terms, in the winter you don't get anything from these solar panels or solar cells, because the energy is not sufficient to generate it. So what you've got to do is think of other ways of doing that. And there's many things. This is when it becomes really interesting. Many pioneer projects have been putting the heat and storing it down underneath the building in a sand layer and insulating a sand layer, just like a big tank to contain heat down there.
So like that.
And then they can use that heat in the winter.
So like that, it's that containers that you can actually take the rainwater and reuse it in the house.
Yeah, that rainwater, of course, is something completely different. But it's the same idea that you can store your energy, in this case the water, and then reuse it later on.
But you can reuse it for making a shower.
Not the rainwater. The rainwater, if you store your rainwater, what do you use rainwater for, guys, if you store it?
For gardening.
For gardening, yeah.
Dishwasher.
Yeah.
No.
No.
Washing clothes, toilet flushing,
Okay.
washing your car. There's bacteria that you would be gathering by collecting the water. So it's really important that you separate, if you have a rainwater gathering system, that it can't go and pollute the public system. So you've got to have like two systems. Or another way that we can talk about later is that you put the rainwater into a tank, and when the tank drops below a certain level, then it opens the public water to come into it. So that you've got to be really aware about how designed, so you're not polluting the public system with the rainwater. So just to repeat, the rainwater, it can be used in toilets, it can be used for washing your car and your garden, it can be used for washing your clothes. In actual fact, I've got a rainwater gathering system, and I can see I use almost no soap powder, because the soap powder, the water is very soft that you're gathering from the rain. So the pH value is very low, so you don't need to have this a lot of soap. So it's really good. Okay. Other ways of generating energy in a windy country like Denmark. Yeah? Windmills, of course, yeah. Yeah. But of course, for a single family house, there's a lot of rules and regulations. You can't just have a big windmill here, because there's laws about the how close you can have big windmills. But there's something called house windmills, which also generate an energy. But then you've got to be an isolated plot, because there's a distance to your neighbour for noise when you're thinking about wind power. But in countries like Norway and things, there's other things as well. And like Scotland, where I come from, where you've got these mountains, you get hydropower. You know, if you've got a mountain, the water maybe that's landing up here in a reservoir can come down a pipe. And when water's travelling down the pipe, it can hit a turbine and turn that turbine and create power. So hydropower is very big, but of course Denmark's a flat country, so we're not really much experience about hydropower. But you guys, getting back to the knowledge, you've got to be aware of how you're going to generate electricity for your house. And things like reduction of CO2 is going to be really relevant. And how you actually design your house so you don't lose heat. And then maybe you can combine it with some sun cells and sun panels.